a luscious
wild tart.
Hello, welcome to Get Gardening, and I'm Alan Gray.
No, you're not. I'm Alan Gray. She's Vanessa Scott.
And today we're doing a luscious
Wild.
garlic tart.
Oh. Right, now this, Vanessa, looks absolutely incredible. It is a pastry-lined case.
Yeah.
And it's sitting in a large oven dish. Can you just tell me why?
Well, it's short crust pastry.
Yeah.
We want to get it nice and crispy. And the biggest mistake anybody makes who sort of puts a custard filling into a tart is that it oozes out and absolutely messes up your oven.
The other thing I'm worried about is soggy bottoms.
Absolutely, it prevents soggy bottoms.
It prevents, because pastry is actually sitting on that.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right. You do avoid a soggy bottom.
Soggy bottom is something that comes with age, they tell me. I haven't got there yet, but that's a lovely way of preventing it. And I think it's a brilliant little tip.
It is. We'll all have to sit on large baking dishes, won't we? Anyway, so we've got short crust pastry, and Alan, could you spread generously over the bottom of this tart some mustard?
It's quite almost the same shade as the pastry, actually. And because it's a relatively mild mustard, Ness tells me that I can be relatively generous.
You can, because this is where the flavour comes in. And it makes a lot of difference popping it on the bottom of the tart because, yeah, I would say you've got enough there.
Right.
Because you're flavouring the custard that you're actually going to pop on the top with that mustard. So it looks, but I would err on the side of caution if you find you've got one that really is a kind of...
Hot mustard.
Yeah.
Because you'll clear your sinuses out. Yep.
You will. Could probably get it into Boots the Chemist then, couldn't you? So the other thing we're going to pop into this is wild garlic, or ransoms.
Ransoms, that's Allium ursinum. Now you see these growing in the woods, especially bluebell woods in actual fact, and I think the great thing about them is the smell. When you smell the flowers en masse, they can be a little bit overpowering, and you can't really imagine cooking with them, but in actual fact that flavour tones down an awful lot, and it really is quite delicious. And I think, what we call it, ransoms, English garlic, wild garlic, whatever you want to call it. It should be a nice seasonal intrinsic part of our diet.
Yeah, because it's only about sort of Easter time, really, isn't it?
Yep.
So the next thing we're going to add to this, I've got some custard here, but I wonder, Alan.
Yep.
If I pop that on the top, whether you could kind of distribute it.
I can. I can assure everybody that my hands are clean, and we have cheese here. Now, what sort of cheese is this? Is a medium grated.
Yeah, this is actually a Suffolk cheese.
Right.
But
that's all right. It's East Anglian. Don't worry.
But I must admit, my favourite cheese for this dish is actually Mrs. Temple's Alpine, because it's got a slightly toasty taste because she heats the milk, and so it develops the sugars in the cheese. And so this one,
is this a goat's cheese?
Yeah, it is.
It is, yes.
Yeah, well,
I can taste that. It's a lovely sort of soft texture to it. That it's not creamy. It's kind of. I was going to say rubbery, but I don't mean rubbery in any derogatory way. No, not at all.
So all I've got in here for the custard is some cream and some eggs.
Yep.
And Alan, if I pass that to you, would you be so good as just to beat it up a bit? Bit of salt, not sort of too crazy because we've got salt in the cheese and salt in the mustard. So you can drizzle that all over the top of the tart.
It's a nice pouring consistency too, so it's not going to splash everywhere.
So we're going to put a bit more cheese on the top.
Right, so just grate this on the top.
So I'm just going to grate that on the top, not much.
Is this the same cheese or another one?
This would ideally be all the same, but you don't have to get too precious about cooking. This actually is a parmesan,
Right.
so I haven't done it the
I
way
can smell
round.
it.
Yeah.
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 So what am I doing with these, and what are they?
So they're pine nuts,
Pine nuts. Ooh.
and we're going to pop them on the top. Now, you can roast pine nuts if you were using them in other dishes. It's a good idea to loosen the oil.
Yeah.
But because these essentially...
And it changes the flavour a little bit,
Yeah,
doesn't
it
it?
does. But they're going to sit on the top of this.
Right.
So,
Am I sprinkling?
yes, please. And you can be very generous with this because it does give that kind of extra dimension. The crunch.
The crunch. That's so important, isn't it?
And the oiliness, the sort of slight pininess to them that I like. And if you didn't have the ransoms, you could use spinach. Just be a bit careful with spinach though. You would steam that off to pull some of that water out of it. But you can use cabbage. Again, I'd crisp that in the oven and use that as your base.
When you're crisping leaves in the oven, do you have any little tips for doing that? Do you put a bit of oil on, or?
Yeah, wash them really well and shake the water off so you've got most of the water out.
And if you can't do that, if you haven't got a salad spinner, wrap them in a tea towel and whiz them around your head. But don't let go of the tea towel because the leaves are gone.
You might lose a picture off the wall. So you'd get rid of a lot of the water, and then oil and a bit of sea salt is good, and then crisp it in the oven. It doesn't take very long. Cavolo Nero is beautiful done like that. It becomes sort of very dry.
Did you hear how she said that? Cavolo Nero.
So we're going to put this into about 180 degree oven.
Right.
For about 30-35 minutes. Just keep an eye on it.
And that's going to cook the pastry and it's going to set the custard.
Yeah, and if the nuts start to catch, you don't want your nuts to catch.
No, I don't.
Put a piece of foil over the top, just not pressed close to but just sort
Just
of
over the
lightly.
top to keep
Yeah.
as a shield against too much heat.
The heat.
Right, in we go. You got it?
Yep. There we have it.
Absolutely perfect. And I'll tell you what's happened here. Just look at that lovely surface, peppered with those pine nuts. Did you like that? Peppered with pine nuts. But you're absolutely right, they stayed on the top. I wondered if they might sink a bit, but they haven't.
No, they don't. And that's why you have to be careful. I've actually cooked this with a tin over the top on the shelf above it.
To stop it browning too much.
They're full of oil, and it's the oil that burns. But that's our wild garlic tart.
Oh, excuse me, I'm in heaven. What are we doing?
You're Alan Gray.
Tart?
A luscious tart. A
luscious.
luscious.
Now, I don't know if it's anything to do with me, but she's given me a spatula.